Hear me out. You shouldn't exist. We should not have made it as a species. We're weak, slow, soft, and everything else had an evolutionary head start. But humans turned around and said,
Hold my intercontinental ballistic missile.
predators, ice ages, starvation, diseases. How did we end up as the big fish in all of that? Well, luck. Sort of. Picture it. Welcome home. Oh, you're cold? You want shelter? Welcome home. But don't get too cozy. This is where you're spending most of your time. But what about living in caves? Caveman, am I right? Well, yes and no. We did use caves, but think of them as more like hotels or emergency shelters when extreme weathers turn your stick house into a sound effect. Actually, throw the whole idea of ownership out the window because most land is contested real estate. So it's a nomadic life for you. And even if you wanted to call dibs on a nice, cozy, damp cave, you have until winter until a 1v1 against the cave bear becomes a canon event. Which reminds me, lions, hyenas, saber-toothed cats, wolves. If you happen to meet one, it's an unskippable cutscene, my dude. What stats are we working with? Slow runners, blunt teeth, no claws, poor night vision, fragile bodies, high child mortality. The odds aren't just stacked against you. We should be getting stomped, bodied, steamrolled, folded like an omelet. So? Well, many things can be given credit, but I want to focus on the main three. And you know we have to start with the classic. It's pretty much common knowledge that fire was a huge glitch. It cooks our food, it provides light, it provides heat. It's universally feared by all predators. But I think fire is still pretty underrated when it comes to cooking. Quick side note, before fire, you can assume that we were eating that puppy raw, extra rare dining. Now the question is, how did we discover cooking? It's a no-brainer for us now, but if you think about it, putting meat over fire is not very intuitive. You don't have a microscope to understand the mechanics in play. So which wise guy saw fire and thought, put the most important resource I have on top of that?
What the fuck are you doing?
I'm messing around so I can find out.
Nigga, that was dinner!
Nevertheless, this hack was monumental for a lot of reasons. Because what does cooking meat even do? Raw meat is really rough, and it's full of long protein chains and collagen. Think of it as a fortress that your army is trying to siege to extract the wealth inside. It's gonna take a lot of manpower to break it down and fight the opposing army inside, aka digestion. Fire is like hiring a whole construction crew, saving yourself much needed energy. Your body has just gained a lot more calories for a lot less effort. Cooking meat reduces digestion work by up to 40%. And with all that surplus of calories, our bodies decided the best way to invest it was to put it in the intelligence stat. Another side note, growing our brains was quite a bold strategy, like putting a bigger engine in your car. Yeah, it makes you go brr faster, but your fuel consumption also spikes. If the benefits stopped there, fire would easily be S rank. But we're not done reading the item description yet. Fire has this funny side effect where it kills bacteria and parasites, which shoots the stock right up to double S tier. The next overlooked buff was time is a resource, and the pre-fire era was a game of time management on hard mode, and you only had 12 hours to gamble with, so you had to instinctively know when it was time to leave the casino. And a deadline that was more literal than figurative. You and your family's lives depended on if you made it back on time. A lot of us last-minute crammers would not have made it back then. Most of the world map was locked content, and so was half of your day, unless you didn't mind turning into a freeze frame or a midnight snack. All those game mechanics went right out the window when fire entered the chat. Now we could aura farm in the winter biomes, and with those extra calories we were racking up, we had plenty of energy to make the trek. Thus, we began to expand our domain. Let's take stock. We had the lowest physical stat compared to most animals and predators. Fight back! Fight back! But fire allowed us to flip the entire hierarchy on its head. We could go where we wanted, whenever we wanted. Though still brutal, ice ages became much more bearable because fire allowed us to not only keep ourselves warm, but also create fine tools like bone needles for sewing and making clothing. Mother Nature didn't adapt us, it made us capable of adapting nature to us. And with all that new brain power, we were on the verge of the next big cheat code. And that new invention was... We have for a long time been able to roughly communicate with simple forms of language. We had the capacity to speak even before the Homo sapien and the Neanderthals split from a common ancestor 650 to 700,000 years ago. The earlier form was very rudimentary and simple. Complex language, however, likely came about 100,000 years ago, and it took around 100,000 more years of investment to fully develop, and that's when we really started cooking. Our offspring could now speed run the tutorials. The amount of trial and error takes a nosedive because anytime someone doesn't understand something, they can just seek out a community elder. This period also started to really unlock what the brain was really capable of and even evolved it further. Now our group dynamics became unmatched, and we just started grieving the server. We can plan, deliberate, compare ideas, and switch tactics on the fly, communicate danger to the rest of the animal kingdom. It must have seemed like the weak little humans all entered the darkest flow state all at once. Armed with the best endurance, we would chase prey for hours until the poor thing would keel over from a heat stroke. It was diabolical, but a pretty successful hunting strategy. But the funniest tactic had to be when we would direct herds of buffalo off cliffs. We were just farming XP, though hunting still came at a hefty cost. Even though I can warn you about danger, if you're not fast enough to dodge, it'll still prove fatal. But even at that risk, we were mad lads. We hunted bisons, rhinos, mammoths, oxes, reindeer, antelope, horses. Yeah. Protein is protein. Well, around this time is when we started crossing paths with a special character that would play a big role with our co-op in the future. For now, we're killing it, and a lot of times it's killing us. Game is game. But we used to be more prey than predator, but with fire and the new chat box update, we more than flipped that dynamic. And with this next innovation is where we really started to cash out on all that brain stock we invested into. Developed between 20 and 70,000 years ago, this is where we took the concept of conserving energy and limiting casualties/fatalities to the max. No longer are we coin flipping life. No longer should we put all our points in the berserker class. While everything else is still brawling for their next meal, humanity picked up the era's equivalent of a sniper rifle and said, "Anyway, I started blasting." We were literally no-scoping our next meal from a safe distance. Hunts went from a boss fight with quick time events to a point and shoot at your favorite meat at the deli. Open plains became our playgrounds. This is where we seriously started expanding our domains globally. See, long-range weapons doubles as offense and defense, so communities that established themselves also were able to secure the safety of their homes, use fire as a first line of defense, and to illuminate your surroundings to deter ambush predators. This allows those communities to specialize and further improve upon the tools they possess: better clothing, better armor, and more importantly, deadlier weapons. And that's it. The three inventions that prevented our species from getting stomped into the credit scene. Fire broke the game, language patched our brains, and long-range weapons turned us from walking snacks into the final boss. We were supposed to get folded by bears, deleted by lions, and ratioed by the climate. But here we are.
I didn't hear no bell.
Anyway, if you enjoyed this, just remember that every like is another bison off a cliff. And subscribing would be